Well, thanks everyone for joining us today and taking some time out of your day. This webinar is, about bridging the gap, why maintenance teams need maintenance tracking along with digital records. No secret out there, everyone's trying to find a way to, streamline their paperwork process and, bring everything into a digital aspect. So just to introduce us, I'm one of your co-hosts today. My name is Raul Gill. I'm with Veryon. I'm an account executive on the team. I've been with Veryon for about 5 years. Work with a lot of operators ranging from sizes to 1 to 2 aircraft operators all the way up to the operators in the triple digits. And then let Kent introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kent Picard. I have been focused on software solutions in the business aviation industry for the last decade or so. Looking at my stock photo, I've probably aged a little bit since then, so that's probably closer to the beginning of my journey. Ultimately, right now, I'm the CTO of Bluetail and have had the honor of working with a diverse set of customers in business aviation to help maintenance departments positively impact their outcomes using technology. So really excited to be here today and talk to you guys.
Awesome. And then to introduce our panelist, we'll just take it in order. But Adam, go ahead if you want to introduce yourself there.
So my name's Adam Laker. I'm with Kroger Aviation out of Cincinnati, Ohio. We operate 3 Challenger 300s out of Cincinnati, Citation Excel out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and a Citation Excel out of Portland, Oregon. We've been with Flight Docs for about 12 years now, and we've been with Bluetail for about a year now.
Awesome. Joe? Joe, you might be on mute. Can't see your screen there.
Sorry. Joe Nelson, Senior Vice President of the Maintenance Department here at Fly Exclusive. Been here for about 5 years now. Worked quite a few different roles here. Stood up the MRO, got its certificate also. But we've been with Veryon now, which was originally Flight Docs for going on probably 2.5 years now, and then Bluetail about a year now. So we've that's our story.
Mr. Mark.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Mark Thomas from PNC Financial Services Group out of Pittsburgh, PA. We have a Challenger 3500, 2 350s, and a Global 5000 Vision. Been with Flight Docs originally since probably 2009, and with Bluetail for about 2 years. We're really kind of enjoying what's going on with it so far. Been with the bank for 33 years. So, all you.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. So we got a poll question coming up, should be popping up on your screen, but how digital is your operation today? A lot of different people I speak out in the field with. Some people have gone and adopted full digital, including e-signatures and essentially removing the printers out of their operation. Then there's, digital paper light, where some things may be still done, with wet ink. They'll eventually scan them in, have them, logged into their, entered into whatever platform they're using, and then still kind of operate in a digital fashion. And then there's still the, operators out there that are primarily paper-based. So everything that they're doing is being printed out, wet ink, logbook entries are, sometimes even being done on like a Word document or something of that nature. And everything's done, and printed out and put into a physical place, like the banker's boxes, for example. And then just maybe if you're just not sure of where you're at currently in the digital world, give you guys a couple seconds to answer that. All right. Moving on here. Kat, if you want to take this one.
Sure. Do we want to hit the results real quick?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have control of that, but
Gotcha. Yeah, looks like the The majority, yeah, the biggest cohort is mostly digital paper light, followed by primarily paper-based at 33%. Yeah, just curious, yeah, around the horn real quick. Joe, how would you have answered that question?
We're probably 90% digital. We generate our work orders out of Veryon, and then we communicate those to the vendors, whether it be internal or external, via email. And then as the work gets performed in those outstations, we retrieve the paperwork via email, and then it goes into Veryon and then into Bluetail for historical. So in a lot of cases, we do maintain a paper copy when required, but we're striving for 100% digital here in the near future. Also, we're progressing very rapidly to a portion of our MRO being using Work Center, Veryon Work Center. And so we think that's going to be a huge efficiency for us when it comes to paperwork documentation, especially if we can get or when and how we get our approval from the FAA. I do have that process done, and I've been working with Fly the Whale also. There's another company out there that Chris he said I could talk about them if I wanted to, but they're also submitted their FAA certification or the authorization for digital signatures and digital record keeping. And so it's a fairly straightforward process. And if anyone needs help with that, or feel free to distribute my information or Chris's, then we can help out with that.
Right. And the way that that's possible, I mean, Veryon is compliant with the circular. It's AC 120-78A. So that pretty much entails, electronic records, e-log books, and then the ability to use e-signatures and meeting the compliance requirements for those particular points. Some of the reasons being is, password protected signatures beyond your actual login password, and then also having version control. So in the event that there is an adjustment made to a document or signatures need to be removed, it keeps, the historical versions as record in the system.
Yeah, I would say that one of the key features for us here, because of us being a larger 135 operator, the capability that Veryon has to allow other operating systems to integrate with it is huge for us. And so for all of our KPI type stuff and/or any integration from sales to operations to any of that can be very easily done, and it's not so easily done with some of the other maintenance data systems out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Adam, I believe you guys in the Part 91 world, fewer hoops to jump through to make decisions operationally. Are you guys using full e-signatures?
So we're a Part 145 repair station too. So we're probably 90% digital right now. Our repair station, we have all the approvals for all the e-sigs and all the electronic documents, but they still like to see a paper copy held for 2 years. Even though we don't have any external customers, we're just working on our own airplanes. So that's kind of how we are. We still print out, the flight docs cards and keep them for 2 years, and obviously putting all our logbook entries in the permanent logbooks. So, but we really like the e-signature and being able to do most everything electronically. So,
copy that. And then, yeah, rounding it out, Mark. Where would you guys put yourself on that spectrum of digital to paper?
I'd say we're close to 95 to 97% digital. We're still pulling off the log entries off of flight docs for a hard copy just as a check and balance right now, but it's being fed directly through Bluetail. And I have one of my lead techs as the administrator for Bluetail, and he reviews the logbook entries in the whole short column there, and before he pushes them in after I've already gone through them and approved them. But we are planning on transitioning here to full digital within the next 3 to 4 months total. So we're really close. We're already using e-signatures, and we are strictly a 91 operator, and the FAA really doesn't care. So we can do whatever we want to do. They're on board with it or they're not. They don't care. So.
Makes sense. I think, yeah, Raul, yeah, to come back to the slide here, the digital transformation in business aviation. The point of this slide in my mind is that digital transformation is coming. We know it is because we can observe what's happened in other industries, and understand like a similar journey can and will happen in aviation as well. You know, I'd point out healthcare in particular. 10, 15 years ago, stakeholders, players in that industry, saw an insurmountable challenge. How can we get there from where we're starting with this immense amount of paper records about people? And I'd contrast that today, if you are hospitalized while traveling somewhere else, it's very possible and probable even that they'll be able to get access to your important patient records to be able to provide you the tailored healthcare you need, even if you are incapacitated. And so just, considering the journey that industry has gone on, it's very conceivable that aviation can make that turn too. And so we're, I think, in the process of that journey as an industry. That poll supported it further. Some people are really close to the fully digital, piece on the spectrum, have plans to get there. Other people are just starting the journey, and that's all natural and good. But that's why we're here today, and we hope to help, demystify and make the journey a bit more smooth through the content that we'll cover in the rest of the presentation.
Absolutely.
You want to hit the next one, Raul?
Yep.
Or advance? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is, I believe we'll be able to provide a link to this, to the updated NBAA guidance. So there was just a revision to the core, NBAA management guide that provides a lot of good information that you can use to help write your manuals or SOPs, other things. So there was a big push recently to publish guidance on going digital, considerations to take, how you might go about it, the benefits that you should be targeting, concerns and things like that. So extremely handy, objective guidance from, our main industry advocate. And so ultimately, yeah, hopefully we can post something in the chat here and the links from this meeting, because it can be kind of tough to find content on NBAA's website sometimes. But yeah, please be aware that does exist and has been updated.
Awesome. So we got another poll question for you guys that should be popping up on the screen. But which of the following paperless benefits would you have the most significant impact on your team's performance? So would you see it like increasing operational efficiency, substantial cost reductions, simplifying regulatory compliance, accelerated return to service times? Which one of those would be, the most significant impact for you? I guess the easy way to ask the question is, when you sit there and having to do paperwork for hours on end, what are the one things that you're thinking about? Like, man, I could be doing this during this time instead of having to do all this paperwork. All right, we'll move on here. Hopefully we got all the questions in. So we're just going to open it up right now. I'll stop sharing my screen here, but we're just going to go over a couple things, to hear from our panelists that have decided to join us today. Their decision on why to go digital, the important lessons that they've learned along the way, and then the results also that they've experienced from being able to go digital. So I think, Kent, I'm going to let you cover the first one there, and then we'll let these gentlemen talk about these questions.
Yeah, sure thing. Were we going to get the poll results?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have the poll results.
There they are.
Oh, there they are. The poll results show up on our screen.
I think an overwhelming response of increased operational efficiency.
Yeah, overwhelming.
So is what we're looking at here today. Some people pointed out, yeah, simplified regulatory compliance. Bluetail customers have definitely cited, easier working relationship with the FAA because of the digital access to records. And then obviously accelerated return to service, the second most important thing compared to but still head and shoulders below, just overall increased operational efficiency. And one could argue that, return to service falls under, general operational efficiency. So
Yeah, I think
that's
obviously the operational efficiencies of being paperless, it's much easier to just go to a search bar and type in a serial number, an ATA code, or something like that, and finding your record in almost lightning speed instead of having to dive through bankers boxes and stuff like that. So that is the obvious one. But I do want to touch on the return to service part. I talk with guys all across the world, and some of the things that they mention is, they get a work order stack from, the MRO that they went to. They turn it into their analyst at the competitors, at the competitor, and it's taking 24, 48, 72 hours to turn that aircraft green. And what it causes is an issue between them and their operations side, that, the pilots, the schedulers, they don't know if that aircraft is good to go yet without making phone calls, text messages, or emails to find out what the real true status of that is. So being able to go digital, being able to do your own updates, having everything done electronically really streamlines that process and like cuts down on that return to service time. Not that the aircraft is not ready to go, but the paperwork and actually having that aircraft green are some of the key points of like getting the communication across the organization. So just wanted to, bring that up.
awesome. Should we do the panelist round robin on the next question, Raul?
Yeah, we'll move over to I'll let you cover here the decisions of the decision to go digital. So
sounds good. Yeah, so we'll do a round robin. I'll start with you, Mark, and I think really we kind of just want to unpack that last poll question a little bit more from your perspective. So the question is, what catalyzed your decision? What really triggered your decision to say, hey, I'm going to prioritize addressing these problems and challenges and prioritize finding a better way to do something in your process or flight department? And of course, yeah, here today to think about kind of like the digital solutions that you've employed in that process. So, Mark, yeah, to start with you, can you tell us more about the decision to pursue digital solutions?
Well, the digital solution started with the original tracking company that we had when we delivered the airplanes. It was your competitor at camp, of course. And that ball started rolling whenever I started to deliver aircraft number 3 and 4 to add to our fleet. And I contacted the other participant asking what they could do as a fleet discount as I'm growing and expanding. And I was promptly told there are no fleet discounts. Well, of course, I got a cold call from Mr. Greg Hine like about 2 days after that, and I got on board with him and we started talking, and that's when we made the transfer over to Flight Docs, and we've been very happy with that. And of course, the world is all going digital, as you well know. I am still an old guy here in the industry and still believe in paper logs, and the paper logs are really cumbersome when it comes to selling an aircraft, taking aircraft to maintenance, leaving home base. At that point, when Bluetail came on and started touting their wares, we started looking at it a little more in depth. We contacted them, and I think we were probably one of the first few people that signed on with Bluetail to start digitizing everything. It's a continuous improvement here at the hangar. That's what we strive for in this world. So this makes things a lot easier, a lot cleaner. There are some hiccups when it comes to us as an operator with these systems, but that's generically us. It's not the systems. It's the way we have to participate within those systems. But like I said, my logbooks have been slowly and steadily decreasing over the last 2 years to the point of everything is almost all digital, and that's the way we need to run it. It's just more accessible. We recently sold a Challenger 300. And we provided the pre-buy inspection folks with the access to Bluetail plus the hard copies. And they were very, very comfortable using the digital, and they found everything they needed, but the hard copies were there just in case, plus they have to go to the new owner. So that exited the big one. Now, the other ones, they're slowly but surely molding over. We did a big inspection with another MRO this year and provided them access to Bluetail also. So there were no questions or comments, or the hard copies were on site also. But the inspection department never had to even look at them because everything was at their fingertips that they needed. So it's a great resource that I'm finding as an old person in the industry. It's amazing to see all this, and it's really needed and welcome.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thank
Really,
you, Mark.
really appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, keeping it going, Adam, let me kick it over to you. What were the kinds of things you guys were looking to impact in your journey in terms of changing process, embracing technology? We know change isn't easy ever. What made it worth it for you guys?
So I think, just the increased operational efficiency. I mean, that the return to service times are so much better. Obviously, the airplane breaks on the road somewhere and you're at home, need to order a part. With Bluetail, in the mock search, you can just type in that part number. It's going to take about 30 seconds and you're going to have all your information right there. Where back, years ago, oh, I guess I got to drive down to the hangar and look it up, whatever. So I think, just the increased operational efficiency, return to service times, it's actually been really helpful. Obviously with change, you got to get the whole team to buy in, but once they see the benefits, they're like, okay, this is going to save me time in the long run. So pretty much everybody on my team has pretty much bought into everything. So we're doing really well there. And it's been a good partnership so far. So really happy with it.
Thanks, Adam. And Joe, last but not least, over to you. You're on mute, I think.
On mute, Joe.
I did it. That's the second time. Next time I'm fired. So I was going to go over kind of how we were operating prior to going to Veryon, and kind of give an example. We started out as about anywhere from 12 to 20 aircraft on the 135 certificate. We were operating in camp at the time. We used Avionics as our operating system for tracking our flights and scheduling our flights in the sales side. And then we had it was pretty much an Excel spreadsheet on a status board, and it was a manual update of the jets offline, the jets online, estimated RTS, so on and so forth, kind of description what was going on with it, and then maybe the progress on it. So we were very it was all manual updates pretty much. Communication was via email mostly. For any type of update requests and things like that, other than the status board. For the accounting side, I know this may not be important for some of the operators out there, but for us, it's huge, is to integrate the accounting side. And with Work Center, I can talk a little bit about that, but there was no integration at all with accounting on the camp side unless you were operating in corridor. And then also the progress on the programs and things like that. So if you're tracking times and cycles and things like that, we were doing that in camp also. As far as parts purchases and things like that, it was all external. There was no parts purchase capabilities or anything like that in camp. So we were not able to do that. We ended up doing that via a separate, basically email. So fast forward to now, we're 86 airplanes on cert. We got another 20 that are being conformed right now. We made the switch to Veryon, and we are now using Veryon with some integrations with an operations system that we basically built ourselves here at Fly Exclusive. And it gives us an integration between Veryon because of the capability and the API that Veryon has, and being real time. You can basically feed off of it to give you real-time update status. Also, you can, if you have the Work Center application, you can order parts, you can track parts, you can create POs, you can track those POs and services and all those things in a one-stop shop. So a lot of the manual stuff that we were doing before, kind of fast forward to now, it's all integrated now into a one-stop shop. And if you're looking for historical, I mean, from, you know, the accounting side or whatever it may be, invoicing, anything like that, if you've got a work order that has all the history of that work order on it, I mean, from the POs that were, you know, created on it to the work that was performed on it to any of the services or anything like that, it's very advantageous to us. So as far as efficiency goes, it's completely turned us around. So yeah, that's, you know, what got you to make the move? I'll tell you, the reason why we made the move is first of all, the cost of camp to put that many airplanes on under camp was a significant savings overall for our company. As far as putting them on Veryon versus camp was a significant reduction in cost for us. And then that, like I said, that API real time was probably even topped the cost. Being able to create those APIs with a company like us was huge. And I know that's not important, may not be as important to some of the, you know, 91 operators and stuff out there, but when it comes to operating a large quantity fleet like this, it's significant for us. So that's it.
Excellent.
Thank you, Joe. So gonna move on to our next thing that we wanted to cover was just, you know, lessons learned on you know, making this move throughout your, you know, digital transformation, I guess, going from that paper to becoming more electronic. So you know, anything that you got, the good, bad, ugly on this. But you know, Joe, just to circle back to you and keep you going, but you know, I know you guys, big operation and everything, and I'm sure that there were some things that you learned along the way that, you know, if you were to give anyone advice that's on this call today, what are some of the things that you would recommend?
So I mean, the implementation was seamless for us, which was one of the biggest concerns that we had as far as like the actual transition from the Veryon or Flight Docs team. That was kind of, you know, behind the scenes, it was happening. However, there was constant communication and validation between them and us to verify things and times and cycles and stuff to make sure that all of your information was correct and you're tracking everything correctly. The other thing it did for us, and we suspected this and had a gut feeling of this because we had experienced a few incidents where something kind of just all of a sudden came out of the blue and was like, well, how did that just show up? Or you know what, that thing is only 10 hours away. You know, we could have overflown this airplane. Why weren't we tracking it?
Right.
Why wasn't it selected? And during the implementation process, we had quite a few. At the time, I think we were over 60 plus airplanes, and bringing that many airplanes over, the amount of discrepancies that we found in the camp tracking system was significant enough to you know, drive us to create an in-house auditing system to make sure that we periodically go through our documents. But the only way we would have known that is by doing the transition. And Veryon was very thorough with that process and drew those potential, you know, issues out at the time of implementation. So we did have an auditing process prior to, but some of those tasks and some of those things during the conformity process or during a previous ownership or whatever it may be, once you go through those historical records and you start drawing all that out, there could have been a repair that was, you know, years ago and it's got a reoccurring requirement or needs to be verified or something like that. It was great for us. Other than that, what else was there? Change in management as far as the amount of people that we need. Is that
Yeah, I mean, just a lesson learned on it. I mean, you know, from the amount of, could it be from the amount of people you had doing the job to now what you need to actually do the job or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've taken our QA department from almost 12 individuals, you know, going through paperwork continuously, updating camp, doing all those things. We're down to 3 personnel in there. So we have a supervisor and then 2 actual maintenance administrators that do screening and updating. So you can see there that, you know, through a activity-based analysis of what was needed, we realigned to meet, you know, the requirements of that. So you can see there's a substantial reduction in staffing there due to the efficiencies of the application.
Awesome. Yeah, and for anyone who's on the call who hasn't experienced going through an enrollment process at Veryon, it's not like a simple copy and paste of your data and we hand it back to you. You know, we do have a QA team on our side as well. Those are the people who brought, you know, things to Joe and his team's attention, such as like, hey, we realize that this isn't up to latest revision or the interval's off. And, you know, we do QA the data. We make sure that everything is up to date to the latest chapter 4, chapter 5 check. We do customer review. We'll send over a customer review sheet just to let them know, like, these are the discrepancies we found. We highlight them, we send them over to the customer and wait for them to review them and send them back with the corrections that need to happen. So just wanted to let you know what to expect when going through an enrollment process with our onboarding team. Pass it over to Adam, just on lessons learned and things like that you did throughout this process.
So on our challengers, we got those new in 2013. So, and we were looking for a change, you know, on a different tracking system. We previously had CAMP on our Falcon 50s, and, you know, obviously enrolling with flight docs at the time, it was pretty seamless. And, you know, just basically, I mean, it was just seamless. No big issue there. With Bluetail, you know, we got them about a year ago, and it was, you know, a gentleman came out, scanned all our logbooks, said it'd be a couple weeks before everything got entered into the system, and then we could start using the mock search features, and that worked really well. And, you know, you know, honestly, I probably use that almost every day. But yeah, as far as for the change management, it was, you know, basically just getting used to a different system, learning how to navigate the website, you know, figuring out, you know, how to sign the cards off. But really it's pretty, once you do it a few times, it becomes second nature and pretty seamless for, you know, the technicians and myself to use. So yeah, it's been pretty easy, really. And, you know, thing I like too is you guys are always about continuous improvement. We bring up suggestions, you guys implement them, and everybody's very helpful on that end. So yeah, that's about all I got, really.
Gotcha. Thank you, Adam. Mark, what did you learn throughout all the changes?
Your system at Veryon is much better than Camp ever was. You guys do a great job with, like Adam just said, with implementing change. It's very simple to make a phone call, and I give Bluetail a lot of credit too. They're very, very willing to work with us. My setup here is I have each technician of mine responsible for one aircraft, so I had them pull an audit of each individual aircraft versus the TLMCs for the Challenger and the Global. Just trying to find things that were kind of not matching and not missing. There was very few. And we were able to, with Veryon's help, is package a lot of these inspections from individual line items and parent and child codes.
Right.
For the 600, 800-hour inspections, which makes the paperwork a lot less when it comes to your due sheets. Those guys, when my guys went through that very thoroughly and made sure everything lined up with everything else, plus adding we're able to add our own individual things. We do a 30-day service check, for example. We told you guys at Veryon what we wanted is the data, and you put together a package for that. So it's just the continuous improvement is tremendous, especially coming from, like I said, I'm an old mechanic. I came from paper, heavy paper, and this is kind of refreshing. And I'm glad to see that you guys are far enough ahead with this to keep it going, because it's always going to be changing, and it's always going to be getting more and more faster and quicker. We've used the Bluetail to make individual logbooks, for example, for our wheels, because we have spare wheels and they rotate through the airplanes. So they each have their own individual logbooks now, because you have to track the landings and the tire changes. So it makes that seamless. And like I said, whenever we sold the airplane recently, we just pulled down all the wheel logs that went with the airplane and handed it to them on a flash drive. There you go, babe. See you later. But overall, it's been very good. Lessons learned have been good for both sides, I think. You know, we've taught you guys at Veryon a lot. I mean, just by the way the challengers work, because we've been on board with you guys with that since the very beginning. So it's been a good experience, really.
Yeah. You know, been with the company for 5 years. I know that being around for over 20, you know, the product was built pretty much on recommendations like Mark's team and, you know, everyone else that's out there. So, I mean, we took a lot of the feedback that we got back from the field. We wanted to make a product that, you know, was suitable for everyone and did all the functions and features that you would want out of a maintenance tracking program. But just to touch on what Mark said, you know, at Veryon, we go through your data, we move everything over, we QA it all. But not only that, we don't handcuff you to, you know, to us. Like if, you know, you have the permissions in the system as an admin, you have the ability to make those, you know, adjustments to codes. If there's a tolerance that you need to update, or even adding in a custom code, like Mark was mentioning, like a 30-day check that isn't in the maintenance manual, but it's something that PNC wanted to do. You have the ability to create those items. You even can mark them as optional items so that they don't turn your do list red. But it's just something to keep track on your aircraft, and then you'll have all the historical compliance of all those optional codes that you created too. So just a feature, you know, that we have built into the system. Moving on to the last question here, results that you have experienced since this. So I know, you know, some of you have already talked about like how it was before digital and how it is now, but just like maybe a couple points of like just real like things that you said, man, it was a drastic change from where we're at to not where we're at today. Adam, you got some of those things that are like just the, you know, obviously hit you right in the face there when you made this change, you were like, wow. You're on mute, Adam. Sorry.
You're gonna have to fire me too.
Well, Joe's got 2 strikes. You only got 1. So I mean, he's close.
Hopefully I don't get a curveball now.
Yeah.
Just the efficiencies. I mean, within the whole flight department, I mean, all of our pilots have flight docs access. You know, before each flight, you know, before they go out on their trip, they're looking at work completed. They're looking at the do list. They've, you know, the feedback I hear from the pilots, they find it very easy to work in the system. You know, obviously, if they're out on the road, plane breaks, they have to MEL something. Obviously, we're still helping them do that, make sure there's not a maintenance action required, and you know, make sure they're comfortable. But yeah, that's, you know, our pilots, they pretty much rave about it. Where, you know, previously with camp, I don't think they really had anything that they, you know, besides a debrief with the maintenance guy before the flight. Right. So that's definitely one efficiency gained. And obviously with Bluetail, I mean, you're ordering a part and you look in the IPC and it's like, okay, now it depends on service bulletin applicability status. Okay, instead of going back and getting the logbooks, now I can just, you know, type that service bulletin in that mock search, and boom, 30 seconds later, I now have that information. Know I'm ordering the correct part, you know, for the plane. Just been very good with the efficiency. I mean, our time is cut drastically with having these 2 systems. So
I always like to make the joke, it gets you to happy hour on time, right? So
Exactly.
you're not sitting in the office having to do paperwork. But yeah, just a touch on that, Adam. I mean, for anyone out there who doesn't know, I mean, we do have, you know, native mobile apps. I don't know if you guys can't see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we did.
But we have native mobile apps. Nice thing about that, there is a specific screen called the pilot dashboard that gives your pilots that heads up display of what's happening right from, you know, one screen on that aircraft. Are there any items past due? Are there any open non-routines? They can even write up non-routines right from their iPad, to the point of taking pictures and videos of the occurrence and having those tagged to the non-routine, so that it goes over to maintenance in real time with an email notification, and they can see what's happening and start making corrective action decisions to minimize the downtime on that aircraft. So pilots love technology. We know that. And if they have all of that right at their iPad, which we know they all have one on their hands because of ForeFlight. You know, it makes their lives a lot easier. I think, Mark, same question back to you. Results that you've experienced with you and your team.
We have also, to tag on with what Adam was saying, we have come together with Veryon and put together a pre-flight, post-flight sheet that we track inside your system under checklists. And this is exactly where my crews go to see what's going on. We have also subscribed with Veryon to provide our MELs, which you guys do, and provide the DDG with that. So the pilots have everything at their fingertips. They're housed in the documents section on the Veryon app. Everything is one-stop shopping. I can see it all from my iPad and run it. We also utilize the watch list feature under the non-routines for tracking things that the crews come up with and we can't duplicate. So we'll throw it on a watch list for 5 flights, and if it doesn't reoccur, then we sign it off as could not duplicate. But everybody can see it, but it does not show up as an open discrepancy, which is a good thing. We use the watch list the right way. Lessons learned over all this, and has been very positive for my crews. They like it a lot. Now, getting them to enter things in the non-routine sometimes can be challenging, but that's the norm around the world. You know, that is, oh, by the way, no, we're very insistent on that here, that these guys do what they're supposed to do the right way in the flight docs. That's why we set it up this way. And it is our basic communication between ground and ops around here, without a doubt. I mean, plus there is the physical brief and debrief every day anyway, but we also have sections for that in our post-flight sheets also. So it's a good one-stop shop for everything for us.
Nice.
And then we use PFM as a flight as for, you know, scheduling, and the times and cycles from the airplanes feed directly to Veryon, and then makes it very easy when it comes to logbook entries, tracking times and cycles, the whole 9 yards. It's very interactive together. Everybody plays nice in the sandbox, and it makes my life a lot easier.
Awesome. So less napkins left on the seat for you to find the next morning, right?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, 3 weeks later. Yeah.
Gotcha. Joe, what is you know, what are the results you know, that you've experienced from this as a whole? I know there's probably a long list with everything you had going on, but
Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned the efficiencies that we gained in the quality of department, you know, just reduction in staffing, which overall made us just so much more efficient. I would say that I could, you know, just talking about possibly the pre-buy conformity process, for, you know, there was a lot of concerns at the beginning that it would, you know, by moving the airplanes over to another maintenance data platform from CAMP, because CAMP is this known, you know, industry, everybody understands and knows it type of maintenance data system. There was a little bit of reluctancy to do that, thinking that it may devalue the aircraft or something like that. But I will tell you that through the process of bringing all of our airplanes over onto it, and then as we move airplanes on and off of our fleet here, you know, we get a lot of comments now that are, how did it only take you, you know, this many days to move this airplane onto CERT, but then it took this many days to move the same airplane onto CERT? And it was typically, the most common answer is, well, the plane that we were moving was on Bluetail and Veryon prior to. And so researching all the documents and the things that you need to research to bring that airplane over onto certificate was reduced significantly in efficiency. So, I mean, you know, saying that it devalues the airplane, yeah, it's a bunch of hogwash, honestly. I mean, it gives you complete searchability for all the records on the Bluetail side. And as far as flight docs, you know, Veryon side of it, there's no difference, and or there's more tracking on that side, if anything, and it's more real time. So, you know, that's one of our, I think I can talk, you know, through, you know, I think we're down to 100, or up to, I should say, 170 conformity processes in the last 24 months. I think it is. So we're jamming them. We're taking a lot of jets off of CERT because of a refresh process that we're going through here. and we're bringing a lot of different airplanes on cert, and there's lease terminations and things like that that happen all the time. So there's a continuous removal from our certificate, and then we're always bringing airplanes on our certificate. So we see the value of that here real time, and it is significant. That's pretty
good
much it.
marketing play when you make everyone think that if you leave us, you're going to lose money, So,
Well, I mean, it's not that. It's just it's glaring when you're in a position like mine, because there's always pressure on me to get the airplanes conformed as fast as possible and get them on certificate. And when, I have a conformity team that's designated to do this process, and we have a set process on how we do it. But then when we have to jump around to these different systems, and some of them are so, non-intuitive and prehistoric, that it's a lot of manual digging through paperwork to try to find the answers to the questions. And through Bluetail and through Veryon, it's just so much easier and more efficient. And it's plain and simple.
yeah. Thank you, Joe. Gonna go back. We got a couple more slides to cover here. And then we will get to it. So one moment. Kent, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, making sure I shared the screen right. All right.
Got it.
Not the best PowerPoint slide presenter in the world, but they gave me the steering wheel today. So all right.
There you go. So yeah, I wanted to just talk a little bit about why Bluetail and Veryon are better together, and especially in the context of digitizing your processes to gain operational efficiency. So from my perspective, what Veryon allows you to do is positively impact your operational efficiency going forward from a point in time. And to being able to, the maintenance tracking is focused on kind of the do list out. So it's focused on the future. It's focused on getting stuff done today, things like that. Bluetail, on the other hand, allows you to retroactively embrace digital solutions. And so by virtue of us going in, scanning your records, enabling you to search the content of those records via mock search, which a few of these guys brought up. So basically the combined capability provides you with a digital maintenance operations platform, a maintenance tracking platform, as well as a digital record keeping solution. And so these things are very powerful when used in conjunction. A lot of times, these guys touched on like needing to conform aircraft, audit aircraft, make sure it's accurate. I would pose to the audience that the combined solution allows you to get your maintenance data perfect. Absent of digital options, it's really, cost prohibitive, labor time prohibitive to really do that three-way match between your maintenance tracking data, your maintenance manual, and your single source of truth logbook entries. There's a lot to sync up between those things, from the correct intervals in the maintenance manuals to maintenance tracking to the correct last complied with data from your logbook entries. And without these tools in place, it's a lot easier for things to fall through the cracks, and it's a lot slower to make sure, like in a conformity process, for example, that it's good and bulletproof in terms of presenting that to the regulator. So I think, yeah, that's just what I wanted to touch on here, of like why we're better together, and then have just a couple more slides here in terms of just talking to like, well, how exactly does that work, once we're live with both systems?
Yeah, I tell people, Bluetail and Veryon, very synergistic. And for any of you guys out there who may be posing the question, Bluetail and I have brought over operators at the same time, pretty much ripped the Band-Aid and left. Most of the time it's camp. And I would say that cost-wise, we have seen that Bluetail and Veryon together is sometimes the same, sometimes less, but really not much more than what you're just paying for camp maintenance tracking today. So just letting you know.
So yeah, just real briefly, because obviously this would be better handled in a in a one-on-one conversation. But if you imagine yourself onboarded to Veryon, imagine yourself onboarded to Bluetail, what you then need to do is keep your digital record keeping system up to date. Via your process, no matter, if you came from any maintenance tracking provider, you are already having your process the point at which time you send records to an analyst, or the point in time at which you do the updates yourself in the system. At that point, you're uploading documentation into the maintenance tracking system. And so with our integration, we are able to pull any finalized logbook entries out of Veryon, especially key, when using e-signatures. So we can automatically sync up any logbook entries for work that you do in-house, as well as grab anything attached to a work completed record inside Veryon, which would be basically the work packages or logbook entries from work you've outsourced to service centers. So through these two channels, we can make sure that the digital record keeping system stays up to date. As soon as anything flows into Bluetail, it's automatically mock searched. And just to borrow from the slogan at Fly Exclusive that I see painted on all the doors and walls, minutes matter in our industry, and especially in those key cases of, you need to turn around an aircraft that might be on the road, and there's some issues and you're coming down to the wire. You really feel when those minutes matter, and the combined digital solution can make things happen when they otherwise couldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just some screenshots of, the integration status in Bluetail that reflects, here's the last time we pulled things out of Veryon, and as well as the mock search capability. So once everything's pulled over, you can search the content of the documents. Obviously, Veryon has some powerful search capabilities as well. But if, for example, you need to dive deeper into a document to find like the paint code very quickly, or locate a wiring diagram that can help somebody troubleshoot something, that's when the Bluetail mock search will really shine.
I know we're getting really close on time here. But just super quick, Adam, would you rather have instant access to your maintenance records or streamline compliance audits with minimal effort?
I mean, for me, it's just, having that instant access. I mean, like I said earlier, you're at home, the airplane breaks,
Right.
boom, you log in.
Almost at the palm of your hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just simplistic, really. Even from, scanning the completion documents, looking at all that. I mean, just, it's really simplistic to have that information wherever you are, and, at your fingertips.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Joe, I know for you as a heavy revenue org, would you rather reduce your maintenance costs by 20% or cut your RTS time in half?
I mean,
You can't have both, even though I know you want them.
yeah, like I said before, I want both, but the 20% reduction in cost is great, but all in all, your reduction in RTS time is what makes you revenue. And so, sometimes you can pay a little more to get that airplane returned to service faster. But from my world, like I say, it's all equally kind of driven. But yeah, I don't know if we're strapped for time. There was a couple of chat questions in there.
We got 5 minutes left.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm willing to stay on if we need to answer those. So just let me know.
Yeah,
But
we
to me,
can.
it's the RTS.
Gotcha. And Mark, eliminating all paper-based processes or fully automating your maintenance tracking?
Well, I want them both also, but you already gave me one with the automate my maintenance tracking. I already have that.
Well,
So
your
the
answer's
process
easy.
of the paper process is the last thing to go, dude.
There you go. Your answer's easy then.
See?
All right. Well, we got those questions up for the audience as well. We'll look at the responses here that we get from those, see if they're aligned with you guys. Let me see. I think let's see if we get the results here in a second. Awesome. So looks like instant access. Looks like everyone's with you on that one, or most people are with you on that one, Adam. RTS times are definitely definitely winning the race there. And then eliminating paper is where we're at with the third one. So thank you guys. So last question really quick. This one's really simple, is just, would you like a follow-up after this? Obviously, myself along with Kent and his team, we're more than happy to even go beyond this presentation, do a further demo, show you everything that the product can do. If you do need us to reach out, or for any of you guys who know us and have our emails, please feel free to reach out to us as well. But let us know if you'd like to get pricing, demo, or anything on what we have to offer on this. I know we have some questions that I want to get to before the time is up. I've got one that I know I'm going to handle here in a moment. Last thing I just wanted to show you guys, we'll cover the questions. I'll turn the screen off to answer some of those questions. But last thing we wanted to show really quick, for any of you that are attending NBAA base in October, just to let you know, Bluetail and Veryon are pretty much right next to each other. There's our booth numbers. We'd love for you guys to come, pay us a visit, talk to us face to face. We even have a cocktail hour that's happening, which I believe the marketing team is going to be sending out a link to. If you'd like to join us in Vegas for that, it'll be at the booth. But yeah, just wanted to point this out, so in case of anyone that was going, knew exactly where to find us. But going to the questions here, I know there was a question about digital signatures and how do you handle digital signatures when it comes to third-party maintenance vendors, especially like AOGs events or anything like that. Great thing about Veryon, you as an admin on the account, you could essentially grant access and remove access to anyone that you want at any time. With that access, you can also enable their digital signatures and even enter in their cert numbers, like for example, like their AMP number or whatever it may be. And then that can be temporary access. So if you do have an AOG event, you're based out of Florida, the plane's in California, you need someone to, take care of some compliance or do a corrective action on a squawk, you can grant that access. They can have access to the records to whatever limited fashion that you want them to have, and perform the paperwork that needs to be done to get that aircraft back up and flying there for you. Believe there might have been a couple other questions. I know, Joe, you said you saw a question that you wanted to answer there, or?
Yeah, I went ahead and answered the
Okay.
questions in the post there, kind of how we here specifically at Fly Exclusive attack the digital signature from an AOG perspective, or from a non Fly Exclusive / MRO
Okay.
individual. So yeah, we have approved vendor listings. We add them to our approved vendor listing, and then we create a temporary account in Veryon, and then that gives them the with digital signature access, and then they can perform anything they need to via their iPad or iPhone or laptop computer or whatever that is. And then we have the historical records, obviously, because we always request the front and back of their AMP so we can put it on file. Usually drug program if they're affiliated with the MRO, and it's one of our requirements. And then however you want to sign it off, if they're under a cert, under an MRO or a repair station or whatever it may be, you can handle that any way that your company does that, or your client or owner does that. So yeah, that's just the way we do it. I don't know if anybody else does it any different, Adam or Mark, but that's the way we do it. And I answered that in the chat. I think everybody can see that. I hope it was under questions and answers, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, any other questions? I'm not sure if it's my view or not. I'm not seeing any other ones. Ken,
Yeah, one of them was
okay.
training on updated customer tracking. I'm not sure, Dwayne, I understand exactly what you're talking about. If you're talking about I work for an MRO and we often do this, but rarely have a customer with flight docs. And I would like to provide a better service. Oh, so I think what he's saying, Raul, is can there be training without them having Veryon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you guys reach out, we do have a team that's that's capable of doing training. Nice thing about Veryon, for any of you that have never had training or never logged into it before, we do have a built-in user guide that's right at the bottom. If you look at the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a little question mark. You click there, teaches you how to do essentially everything that's within the platform at a high level. But of course, we'd be more than happy to do training with any of the MROs out there that don't really have aircraft that they're managing themselves, but have aircraft coming in that are on Veryon. So of course, yeah, we want you to know how to use the system and be able to be proficient at it.
Yeah, our MRO currently, Raul, our MRO does not use Veryon for external customers. So we provide some training for them, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, typically it's so easy. I mean, you can't really.
I would say if you look at when it comes to customer reviews and people doing their their review platforms on the internet, I think Capterra is a really big one when it comes to software reviews. The unanimous theme that you see across all of our platform reviews is like the user interface and intuitiveness of the system. I mean, that is like everyone mentions that. I mean, you're trying to get to a certain page or navigate to a certain place. Usually the button's right in front of your face and it only takes 2 or 3 clicks to get there. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I think Kent, like the rule of thumb there, it's like the 3-click rule. If it takes you more than 3 clicks to get to where you're trying to go, then we didn't do our jobs. So that's how the platform was built, and we make it very easy to navigate through the whole system. So just to be respectful of everyone's time, though, we'll close this up. I wanted to thank everyone, our panelists. Kent, thanks for co-hosting with me today. Those of you who are able to join and be a part of this, really want to thank you guys. Kent, pass it to you if you want.
Yeah, I think you said it all, Raul. It's hopefully this was informative, and I think you'll find it with Veryon and Bluetail. We're an organization that likes to collaborate with our customers and work with them to find solutions. We see ourselves as supporting customers rather than telling them how to do their jobs. So that's us, and we'd love to engage with you guys.
Yeah, by all means, don't be shy. Feel free to reach out, even if you just want to take a look, kick some tires. I don't mind. I love learning about what's going on out there and showing you what we have to offer. I mean, I will say that many of the people that I spoke with that have never taken a look at what we have to offer are sometimes it's a little bit of regret that I can hear in their voice of saying, man, I wish I would have saw this sooner. And I'm sure Kent, you guys probably hear the same stuff. So love to just have the chat with you guys. And if anything, if you don't have the time and you're at base, stop by the booth and come say hi. But as to Adam, Joe, Mark, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate you guys sharing your words of wisdom with us today, and looking forward to the next webinar.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.